What's up everyone, Lion Roar here, and lucky us, Bloodline has revealed a second warrior clan that is coming soon. I already covered Dravpal yesterday, which looks like a really good warrior clan, so make sure to go check out that video. Today I'm going to cover the SIMIR clan. It looks like Bloodline's really trying to improve the quality of warriors, so let's see how the SIMIR clan is. But first, download Bloodline Heroes of Lithus, a mobile RPG action fighting game where you can marry your champions to create new and unique hybrids. Use the link in the description to start with some free stuff, including gold and diamonds. And I'd be honored to have you join my server so you can play alongside me. Simply click on your profile, settings, then change your server to S462. See you hopefully soon. Alright, so of course today's video is just going to be speculation because these champions have not been released yet, and we don't know how they're truly going to perform until they are released and people start summoning them and playing with them. People like me are going to do it pretty early, so of course make sure you're subscribed for those videos. But if you're somebody who has to budget your summon crystals, you might want to wait and see what people are saying about it when they start playing with the champions first. So I'm just going to be taking guesses today. Let's start with the male SIMIR here. I'm going to start with the ultimate, talk about the passives, and then we'll cover some of the base stats and see how it stacks up with warriors that currently exist in the meta. First, the ultimate, Dauntless Snarl. Snarls at the enemy champion with the highest strength. That's important. Dealing damage equal to 650% of the champion's strength, inflicting stun for 3 seconds. All enemies between the champion and the target will also be knocked back and take damage equal to 300% of the champion's strength. If the target is killed by this skill, the champion recovers 200 energy. Now, there's not a lot of champions in Bloodline that actually reach that back line to really affect enemies that tend to have the highest strength. People tend to tuck their mages away that have a lot of strength and deal damage to everybody and just blow the whole team up. And so it's hard to reach them. Really, right now, only male Tidestorm does a good job at reaching them. But now we have another effect that's a lot like that. So male Tidestorm's relatively easy to get. Most people should have male Tidestorm by now at some rarity, of course. And of course you want that leveled up to be using it. He's an all-star. So if male Tidestorm's an all-star, and this is a very, very similar kind of ultimate, then I have a feeling SIMIR could also be an all-star. SIMIR's doing some different things here because the highest strength champion is not necessarily on the back line. So there's something that SIMIR does differently that's better, and that's that like sort of middle champion. It can reach that. Or if for some reason in the future, let's say even now with the warriors that are coming out, but like in the future, if some really, really high strength warrior or tank or something like that comes out, or even like Devala, people pump the strength up of Devala, right? Wherever they place her on the battlefield, people are playing games right now with where to place her in team comps, but SIMIR can reach them. Whoever that most problematic champion is, SIMIR is going to reach them. So do take note of that. And he's speeding up too. So if he kills that champion, now he's just getting faster. And he's going to do it to the next champion as well and work his way down. It's basically dealing with the most problematic champions first and then working down from there. That's exactly what you want. All right, let's take a look at the passives. Tornado Slash. Spins rapidly in a circle with their blade moving forward, hitting all enemies within a rectangular area in front, knocking them back and dealing damage equal to 450% of the champion's strength. It's quite a lot of damage for a passive, but I'm really curious how that's going to work. He spins in a circle but deals damage in a rectangle. It's kind of funny. I'm going to be interested in to see like what that animation looks like. So that's just a lot more damage that's being dealt with here. Please note that SIMIR male is like doing a whole lot of knocking back. And that's important because you can create synergies on your team that take advantage of that. This champion is going to conflict with a number of champions that you want to actually like pull champions inwards, right? Like you want to pull champions into your female Devala, into the blood pit, right? Now, female Devala does travel around, but female Ugrul is another one. You want to pull heroes into that particular effect. This one is going to be pushing them away. So what you're going to look for in team comps are champions that are going to take advantage of pushing champions away. Okay, so if you have you know, I'm just thinking like male Ignis, you know, might be a good one where like you can push champions away and then just blow them up, right? All in the same little area. But a couple of the other champions I mentioned will conflict in a team comp like this. So you have to be really careful about that. Taking a look at the Lion's Den passive, the champion marks a territory at the start of battle with which all enemies have their strength reduced by 35%. For each enemy killed within the territory, the debuff effect is strengthened by 25%, and the champion's strength is increased by 20%. This effect is stackable. Now, this one's interesting, and I'm having a hard time deciding this is like good or not. I think there's too much randomness in it for me to know whether it's going to be good. We don't know how big the territory is. We don't know where the territory is going to go. We don't know if there's going to be champions in it. We don't know if he's going to set this area on the battlefield and then push the champions right out of it, you know, or set it and push all the champions into it. And how good this passive is kind of depends on his whole interaction with that and how he's like pushing champions around. So I don't know. I honestly don't know what to tell you about this one, but I'm telling you overall, looking at this with a lot of male Tidestorm types of effects here with even more damage being dealt to other champions, because that's one thing that male Tidestorm's weak at is while he does a lot of damage to one champion, he doesn't do a lot of like splash damage. This guy's going to do it. And he's a warrior. He's right up front too. So his regular attacks making it through. I think he's going to be pretty good. I think he's going to be at least as good as male Tidestorm, who's an all-star, and has the potential to be a little better. Or he might be a little worse. It just kind of depends. We need to see how some of the randomness in the specials and the skills play out. Now, taking a look at the base stats, I always like to compare to like female Ugrul and female Doombringer, who are like the two warriors that tend to be used right now. 15 million HP is kind of on par for those, and 75 defense, same thing, kind of on par. So as far as survivability, just like them. And what we know with those warriors is they're just there to soak up damage, and they do kind of die pretty quickly, even if you've really worked hard on pumping them up so that they don't die quickly. And they gain health, which this guy is not gaining health. So, you know, there is that to take note of. I think he could actually be a fragile warrior. We'll have to see if he survives long enough based on that. But that's the only area I have concern right now. The special looks great. The attack is 382. That's pretty high. That's higher than the female Ugrul and Doombringer. So take note of that. He is going to be dealing a lot of damage. As far as traits, I always just kind of default to agile and focused, and I will continue to default to those until I have some other reason to do otherwise. But I like on a champion like this, Honorable, which is going to prevent damage being dealt to him. Just a great one for your champions that are going to be up close and personal with the others on the other side of the battlefield. And then, of course, you want Brutal because of the damage being dealt based on strength. Now, let's take a look at the female Simir, and her ultimate is Intimidating Roar. Roars furiously to intimidate nearby enemies for 1 second, attacks 3 times, dealing a total damage equal to 550% of the champion's strength. So that's not as much strength as the male, and it's kind of being spread out. So I don't know that that's a tremendous amount of damage being dealt. The Intimidate for 1 second is kind of interesting because that could be like a crowd control effect. And so we'll have to see if that's good. But I feel like 1 second is maybe not quite enough time to control the crowd. Of course, a lot of team comps today are so fast that maybe 1 second matters. We'll just have to see. Also increases the target's damage taken by 20%, preventing them from using the ultimate skills for 3 seconds. So there's another crowd control feature. And that one's important because that's kind of like a silence. I don't know why they don't just call it silence, but there you have it. Now let's take a look at the passives. Bash and Slash. This one's interesting. There's a lot of text. Casts a shield forward, so it's like throwing a shield forward to attack all enemies along the path, dealing damage equal to 135% of the champion's strength. So now the shield is like out in front and has hit a number of champions. After that, the champion dashes forward and slashes all enemies within a fan-shaped area, dealing damage equal to 135% of the champion's strength. So here's a second round of damage coming. After retrieving the shield, the champion wields their last slash at enemies in front, dishing out damage equal to 180% of the champion's strength, knocking them back for a short distance. The last slash is guaranteed to cause a crit hit. So that's a good amount of damage on just kind of like a passive type of skill going off here. And again, we're seeing an effect on this Samir that's pushing champions back. So you could potentially have a situation where you could play the Samirs together and just push heroes back, push heroes back, push heroes back. And then your other champions can, especially if they have like sort of a targeted range or just like an area of effect that a lot of damage is being done or some other effect, you could funnel them into that and build a comp that takes advantage of it. Resisting slap is the next passive skill. When taking damage higher than 10% of the champion's max constitution, the champion will resist damage cooldown for 4 seconds. Now, I'll tell you what, this passive, I think, is going to go way under the radar. I don't think it's exciting. I don't think there's a lot of words here. And I don't think a lot of people are even going to notice what's happening when the match is actually occurring. But like, if you just try to deal a boatload of damage to Samir, you're not going to kill her. She's just going to kind of like deflect it. And then she's going to be alive and you're going to wonder why. Like, why is this Samir female just hanging around? Why won't she die? Right? So I do think that this is a pretty good passive, and it's one you're probably going to level up, but it's probably not going to be an exciting one a lot of people are drawn to. Just take note that I think it's underrated. Taking a look at the base stat, 16 million HP, not so different from female Ugrul and female Doombringer. The 88,000 defense is pretty high, so that's actually pretty good. So she's got some more survivability here than those, but she doesn't do the healing like the female Ugrul and Doombringer do. Again, take note of that, but she does do a little bit of crowd control. 371,000 attack. That's a pretty good amount of attack, a little bit higher than the others. So she is going to be dishing out a lot of damage there. I think she's pretty good. I feel like the male is going to be better if I had to guess. And I covered this in the draw poll video, but when those come out, I kind of think that both of the male and the female are like equally as good, or at least I'm speculating. This one I would lean towards male. And whether the clan is worth summoning or not depends on how good the male is going to be. Now, some folks might speculate and say that the female is better, but you let me know in the comments what you think based on what we're seeing and what we currently know about the game. There is some randomness involved in both of the descriptions of these skills, so there is that at play. All right, well, if you enjoy videos like this, make sure to like, subscribe, and let me know in the comments what you think, and I will catch you in the next one.